Hello and welcome to round 4 of the sportsbreaks.com tour series. We are in Stranraer this evening. We are back in Scotland for this round. Thanks for your company. Marty McDonald with you to take you through today's race action. We have the women's race here and then the men's race at 6 p.m. And the decision's been made. A little bit of weather coming in. It's been a beautiful day so far. So they have taken the executive decision to just adjust the timing down to 1 hour. Normally we race a 1 hour plus 5 laps. It will just be a 1 hour race for the men and the women, but we are on the start line. The riders lining up, getting ready to go. It was Sunderland that was the venue for round 3. And going into this evening, it's Pro Noctis, Rota, Red Chili Bikes, Heidi Kielsen that are sitting at the top of the leaderboard. Boompod second with a 20 points, Spectral Wiggle third. Let's have a look ahead at the circuit and what the riders will tackle. The 1 kilometre Stranraer circuit sits along the shore of Loch Ryan and is the first clockwise course on this year's Tour Series calendar, featuring a varied selection of turns along straight. This circuit offers plenty of variation. The riders will have to negotiate 2 roundabouts before entering that long back, sweeping back straight. It's where the course may take its toll. That final sharp right-hand turn will then funnel the riders back towards a short sprint to the finish. And of course we have our sighting lap, so the riders will have that first lap behind the motorbike, just to shuffle the pack very slightly and get everything moving before the bike will pull away. And we will be off and racing. If you weren't with us for Sunderland, it was a great night. First individual win for Sammy Stewart of LDN Brother UK. That's been coming for a while, that victory ahead of Frankie Hall and Suzette Guarini of Team Jaden Vive la Velo. What a rider she is, and what a team, Jaden Vive la Velo, a team that have been with us in the Tour Series for many years. If you've followed this series along over the years, Jaden Vive la Velo taking a team victory on the night for the first time. Pro Noctis, Rota, Red Chili Bikes, they came in second. It wasn't quite a night for them. Joe Tinley getting caught behind a crash as other riders did, but they still managed to come in second in the team standings. And then Spectra Wiggle, they had Charlotte Berry in the breakaway, then came kind of coming together with Frankie Hall, went down fairly heavy, but they still managed to take third spot on the night. Datalink's Paranesis, they came in fourth in the team standings. Again, another team that have been with us over the years, Datalinks. Boompods came in fifth. They took the 6 points. Brother LDN, Loughborough Lightning, St. Piran, and Alba Development, and Brother UK Orientation Marketing. That means the top 10 in the team standings. Pro Noctis, Boompod, Spectra Wiggle, then Jaden Vive la Velo with 18 points, level with that Brother LDN team. Torelli Cayman not taking the start again. They've gone to do some racing in Europe, we believe. Cams Basso, defending champions, are in 7th. Just 3 riders starting from them tonight. Loughborough Lightning, Alba Development, Datalinks, Paranesis level with 9 points in 8th, 9th and 10th. You'll see the clock counting down to 4 p.m. and then we will get things underway. The weather at 12 degrees Celsius, is about 53 Fahrenheit, and rain of forecast. And along the front, mega marker on the left in the fluorescent yellow and red colours of Cams Basso, the Brother LDN with the light blue sleeves. And it's green and white. Nikki Metcalf has informed me or reminded me for Team Boompods. So they are on the front row of the start as well. Let's get ourselves underway, and we'll introduce you to your other teams as we roll out, just in case you haven't been with us before. Pro Noctis, our series leaders, they are in the freewheel.co.uk yellow jerseys, so you're watching out for those yellow jerseys. Sophie Enever, 123 for the Alba Development team. So they are in the sort of dark blue sleeves with the Scottish flag across the kind of belly of the jersey. So they will be wanting to do something in front of a home crowd in this one. That's Corin's side, Joe Tindley. So the team of Pro Noctis. So Amy Gornall. There's Amy Gornall there, just on your left in that yellow jersey. So Amy Gornall. And they've got Isabel Darville and Lucy Elmore is the rest of that team. Amira Mella here in that gold, black and grey jersey of Spectra Wiggle. And they've got Bex Durrell, Maddie Nutt, Sam Forster and Zan Crease. You can just see Zan Crease moving up there on your right. Just sporting a little bit of bandage on the arm as well. Went down in Sunderland. Loughborough Lightning, they're in the purple, so those purple colours for Loughborough Lightning. Frankie Hall, Emily Tillett, Flora Knight, Rasheen Lally. Let's get a little close up there of the computer of Joe Tindley. And she will be looking to try and put some of the last round out of her mind as she will. True pro, Joe Tindley. Sprints leader as well, so she's wearing the yellow jersey as series leader. There's your Data Links Paranesis jerseys, fluorescent yellow on the right sleeve, red on the left sleeve, and they've had a good series so far. Have Data Links Paranesis, Nicola Sudden, Isabella Johnson, Sophie Holmes, Megan Anderson, and Laura Cheeseman are the team of Data Links Paranesis. St Piran. They are here in their blue colours. You can see there the blue jerseys with that Cornish tartan just around the cuff of the jersey. And St Piran this evening. So Sophie L, Maddie Gammons, Gwen Hughes, Gemma Sargent, and Hannah Bays. You hear the crowds just banging the boards. Emma Jeffers moving up in the centre for Jaden Vive Lavello. The bike pulls away. Let's go racing. We are here in the Tour Series in Stranraer for the first time, first visit here in Stranraer, and it's Megan Barker on the front for the Cams Basso team. So Cams Basso, the defending champions, sitting overall in 7th, but illness, injury, and a big team program for them, a double race program. They're one of our UCI teams, our Cams Basso. So they've been off racing in Europe. They've had a program. They've been off racing in Spain and among other places. Joe Tindley, though, straight through to the front. This is the tactic that we saw Joe Tindley employing in Guisborough. Just go really hard out of the blocks and then just look back and see what's happening behind. But thanks for your company. Thanks for joining us. So we have 2 races to entertain you here this evening in the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series, 13 years. And don't forget, it's a team series in the team classification, which if you're new to the Tour Series, if you're happening across our coverage for the first time, it's unusual in the world of cycling. Normally, the team lead out their sprinter and then they just let them go, and it's all the glory just for one rider. And while we do celebrate the glory of the individual win on the night, it's a team classification. Hence why you can see the entire Pro Noctis team are in those yellow jerseys as the series leaders. So it does change that dynamic of the sprint. So you're watching out for those multiple jerseys as they cross the line. Lucy Lee leading through the bunch for Team LDN Brother UK. Sophie Langford up there for the Alba Development team, sitting second wheel. Emma Jeffers, one of the riders of the series, you got to say, the young rider there from Jaden Vive Lavello, sitting in third wheel. And Emma Jeffers, great sprinter, former BMX rider. But what we have to, and Vix Hood, the team principal of Jaden Vive Lavello, what she did remind me of is that Emma Jeffers, being a junior, is riding on restricted gears, which when you look at the way she kind of is in the bunch sprints as well, compared to the senior riders that are riding much bigger gears, again, it puts things and the talent of Emma Jeffers in perspective, which is worth reminding ourselves of these things. Sammy Stewart on the front here, the winner of the previous round, and what a show of strength again in the last round from Sammy Stewart. And if you've been with us over the last couple of seasons, you'll have seen Sammy Stewart sort of kind of come into the races and into the Tour Series, and has really sort of started to excel within this series. And I did send something out to all the riders. I always try and get a little bit more insight on the before the tour series into the riders. And Sammy Stewart, when I said, what, you know, any results that I might not have seen last year, this year, and her reply did all right in the tour series last year, which was good. And she's had multiple fastest laps, but it was great to see her getting that individual win. And you can see just how much she's stringing this one out here at the moment in this Stranraer circuit. You can see just how fast and how flowing it is. So Lucy Lee and Sammy Stewart, and that again, it adds to that confidence within the team. And Lucy Lee as well did a great team ride in Sunderland, the rider here from LDN Brother UK, who's working on the front with her teammate. When Sammy Stewart got herself across to the breakaway in Sunderland, she tried multiple times to get away. And Lucy Lee did a great defense on the front of the peloton, defending for Sammy Stewart. And it was great to see that sort of perhaps the way Sammy Stewart is riding kind of growing within the team, and that confidence growing within the team as well. Let's just run you through. You can see a few little gaps just opening there at the front of the group. So just through the line, it was Sammy Stewart, Lucy Lee, Emma Jeffers, Joe Tinley, Kate Richardson up there as well for the Alba development team. We saw her on the attack in the previous race. Monica Greenwood, Sam Fawcett, Maddie Gammons, Sophie Ennifer, and Sophie Langford. Sammy Stewart, though, is going to go again here. She's wearing that sprints jersey. She's second in that classification behind Joe Tindley, and she's just keeping that jersey warm. So Tindley's wearing the yellow jersey. She is the sprints leader, and Tindley coming into tonight with 39 points in the sprints classification. We have 3 intermediate sprints to come within the race. We then have points on the line as well. So as we cross the finish line, we also get the sprint classification points on the line as well. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points are on offer on those intermediate sprints. So it's 39 points for our rider on the front here in that yellow jersey. She is leading Sammy Stewart, who's second with 17 points. So quite a commanding lead for Joe Tindley at the moment. Sophie Lewis, who was up there in our... rider down on their crash at the front, and that's delayed pretty much most of the peloton there. There's just 4 riders have got clear, so a crash right at the front of the bunch. That's not what we want to see, unfortunately, and that really has split the group. So the crash going down right at the front of the bunch there, and that will be quite a chase to get back in this early on in the race. We've got one of our Alba development team riders trying to get in there as well. So that, a real shame. It looked, we saw one of our Team Boom Pods riders going down at the front. So we'll see how much, what sort of damage that has done behind. There's the group coming through as they're now having to chase so early on in this one for such a big crash. So Maddie Gammons is the rider that's in the gap. Kate Richardson is the rider on the back. So Tindley's looking back here just to see where the teammates are behind. And very unfortunate this early on in the race for a big crash like that to really delay most of the peloton. So Megan Barker, Lucy Elmore, Amira Mellor, Sophie Enniver, and Sam Fawcett were the group behind. Kate Richardson just on the front here for the Alba development team. Little flick of the elbow there by Tindley. So we're just going back round just to excuse our little picture freeze here at the moment. Back to the finish line. So the gap here. So we're heading towards our... So we've been racing just over 6 minutes. And Sammy Stewart leading our 4 riders as we come out of that corner. So the firefighter, Sammy Stewart by day. There's the group behind. So the size of that group behind, so you're watching out for those team jerseys within there. So there's your Pro Noctis jerseys in there. There's Zan Kreese just going through for Team Spectra Wiggle. So those Alva development team riders are all trying to chase to get back in here. Our St. Piran rider, I think that's Gemma Sargent just on the back of that group. Out of that corner, here come some of our Team Boom Pods riders. Back to the front, Kate Richardson. You can see fairly fast flowing course that we've got here in Stranraer. So 4 teams represented at the front. Alba Development, Joe Tindley's wearing that yellow jersey for Pro Noctis. Rota Red Chili Bike Heidi Chaos, and Sammy Stewart from Team LDN Brother UK, and Emma Jeffers from Team Jaden Vive Le Velo. So we've, as we've said, we've been raving about this young rider so far. So the former national champion on the BMX got inspired by her brothers, she says, to take up to switch to the road. And BMX is such a great grounding as well. If you're a young rider, or you've got a young rider that's interested in cycling and getting into this, it's loving what they're seeing here and wants to get involved, try everything. Do everything, whether it's road, track, cyclocross, BMX, mountain bike, ride everything. And we do get a lot more crossover, or we did get a lot more crossover in women's cycling before the likes of Tom Pidcock and Matthew Van Der Poel and Wout van Aert decided to kind of follow in the wheel tracks of the great champions such as Marianne Vos and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot and riders like that who just jumped across disciplines with consummate ease. So Emma Jeffers here comes into this as well. I think she was over at the Tour de Gévaudan recently as well, and 4th in the under the Junior Nations Cup Gent-Wevelgem Classic as well recently. But our breakaway group, I think they were looking back as well, just to kind of decide what they were kind of almost in your mind when that happens at the front of the peloton, and kind of almost in your mind trying to decide what to do in that situation. So just as well, just our technology, the coverage here, our live stream is being done on 4G technology, and it just some of the buildings could sometimes just affect the signal around the back of the circuit, but the 4G technology allows us to be able to bring you these great live streams so far. So do excuse from time to time a little bit of picture breakup as the 4G signal just tries to punch its way out around the back of the circuit. There's your bunch, and you can see just growing in size there again. And these chasing groups just trying to get themselves back into the mix. So the Spectra Wiggle riders. So Zan Kreese, another multidiscipline rider, just switches between cyclocross and the road as well, the Zan Kreese. So just over 10 minutes of racing so far. We'll be heading towards our first intermediate sprint of the evening very soon. If you're just joining us, welcome aboard. It's the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series here in Stranraer. It's round 4 of 7 this year. It's a 1 kilometre circuit, and we are just racing for 1 hour in total, both the men's and women's races here this evening. Normally have 1 hour plus 5 laps, but they've been looking in terms of the weather and it potentially coming in. We're right on Loch Ryan, and you saw our graphic at the beginning. We had the ferry because we're out right up on the coast. So the Stranraer circuit, the wind as well. Earlier on, the wind was kind of coming across and blowing out towards the loch. So they have a kind of crosswind from the left shoulder on the back of the circuit, but it is quite sheltered. You kind of see it opens up a little bit as we get down to the sort of start and finish straight, where they have the wind from the right. Your breakaway group is Kate Richardson from the Alba development team. So the Scottish development team, Kate Richardson, and was on the attack as well in Sunderland. And it would be, you can imagine, the crowd will go wild if you get a win as well from the Scottish rider on the Alba development team. So that would be an interesting one for them. Joe Tindley, if you're familiar with the Tour Series, you'll know the name as well of the national criterium champion, Joe Tindley of that Pro Noctis Rotor and Chile Heide Kelsen team. She's the team principal, you would say, of that team that won that national title in Lincoln last year. Emma Jeffers from Jaden Vive La Velo. She's from Chorley. She's 17, is Emma Jeffers, and in that breakaway group as well. And then Sammy Stewart of the Team LDN Brother UK team. So they're just coming round, your leaders, just to lap a few back markers here. So they pick them up, and if they do lap any riders, they are then pulled out with 3 laps to go. The klaxon is sounding. We are ready for our first sprint. But you can see the chase here. Frankie Hall on the front for the Loughborough Lightning team, and she's got Lucy Elmore right on the wheel. So Frankie Hall, Lucy Elmore, Megan Barker. Then they're followed through by Lucy Harris. So Lucy Elmore going through, Lucy Harris, Isabel Darville, Amira Mellor, Bex Durrell, the former national criterium champion and multiple Tour Series round winner, Bex Durrell. She's in that group as well. Beth Harley Jepson, Sophie Enever still in that chasing group. Sophie Holmes is in there for Data Links Paranesis. Hannah Bays is in that chasing group as well. For St. Piran, Mary Wilkinson of Boom Pods is in there. Corinne Side as well is in that chasing group for Pro Noctis. Sam Fawcett still in there. Beth Morrow, Megan Anderson is also in there. She's had her fastest lap in this series so far. Maddie Gammons, Amy Gornall, Beth McIver and Emily Tillett and Sophie Langford is what we make. And then a 12-second gap back to Laura Cheeseman, Louise Scupham, Victoria Smith, Maddie Nuck and Gweno Hughes, that next group. So that's the gaps there at the moment. And if you weren't with us at the beginning, unfortunately, we had an early crash right at the front of the peloton, which was right behind these 4 riders, and they got clear. But you can see the chase by the Cams Basso team really trying to get this race back under control after that early crash. Beth Morrow going through, and it's 11 seconds now is the time gap. So Beth Morrow and the Cams Basso team trying to get this one back under control is the best description of that. So Laura Cheeseman and Louise Scupham going through. Then your chasing group. Gemma Sargent on the front here for St. Piran. And Zeta Garini is also in that group. So Zeta Garini, so Gemma Sargent leading through, and in that group as well, Sophie Thackeray is the Cams Basso rider that you can see in there. Beth McIver and Emily Tillett are the riders that are just off the back of the group, chasing hard to get back in to the mix. Here come our 4 leaders round towards the start-finish line this time. So Tinley leads through this time from Sammy Stewart. So Tinley leads Stewart through, and this is the chase. Can they get themselves back in? The gap from the front to that chasing group. Megan Barker leading through. The gap is down to 10.83 seconds. Megan Barker, Lucy Elmore, Isabel Darville, Sam Fawcett and Beth Morrow on the riders close to the front of the peloton, but down to 10 seconds. Can they get themselves back into the front and bring this group back together? So the order across the line was Joe Tinley, she took the 5 points, Kate Richardson, Sammy Stewart, Emma Jeffers, and Megan Barker was your first 5 riders across the line. There's your chasing group just going through. And they are at, so we've got Beth McIver and Emily Tillett at 22 seconds. I think that's the group being led through there by Kerry Middleton, as our leaders just come out of that corner. So that group there is just about a minute, just over a minute down. The riders in the gap there, those are lapped riders. And we'll see how the chase is going. So our leaders go through. There's the chasing group. That's the bunch just coming around that corner. So 12 laps completed. 18 minutes and 30 seconds. But Pro Noctis coming through to do the team job here. Megan Barker and Beth Morrow are going to have to be wise to this one, as are the rest of that group. They Pro Noctis, they do work very, very well as a team. So you don't want them to just park the bus, as they say, on the front of the bunch and slow it down when they had brought it back. And it has gone out again to 16 seconds. So it had come back to 10. It's gone out to 16.988 seconds. So that's 1 sprint down, 2 sprints to go. Next chasing group going through. This is your group here, just containing a couple of your, this is the group containing Gemma Sargent and Detta Guarini. So unfortunately for Guarini, in that breakaway in the last round in Sunderland, and your leaders going through. Emma Jeffers just swinging off. If you are just joining us, Kate Richardson on the front for Alba Development. Joe Tindley in the yellow jersey is one of the Pro Noctis team leaders in that freewheel.co.uk yellow jersey. Sammy Stewart in the light blue jersey, wearing that Sprints jersey. And then the other rider in your breakaway group, keeping that Sprints jersey warm for Joe Tindley. She's second in that classification. That was your chasing group going through this time. Beth Morrow leading through. It's gone out to 19 seconds now, this gap. You can see just this little rise, and said that it has been fairly windy out on the circuit. Emma Jeffers just on the back of the group. So your next rider's just crossing the line there. Beth McIver and Emily Tillett. They're at 52 seconds, those 2 riders. And then your chasing group, this is your your next group on the road. We'll call this the Sargent and Guarini group. And also in their on the back is, and here come your leaders. So they're not far away from picking up that group, lapping that group. Sammy Stewart's going to lead through this time. So 13 laps completed. So if you weren't with us earlier, and we're just racing for an hour this evening, just to manage the weather that did look like it was coming in. So they decided that they were going to race, the organisation taking the decision just to do an hour, so rather than an hour plus 5 laps. So they'll probably get shown the lap board after about 53 minutes of racing or so, just after 50 minutes of racing. But great opportunity here for all 4 of these riders. Sammy Stewart has won a Tour Series in her career now, our last round in Sunderland. Joe Tindley is still hunting for that Tour Series win. Second, 3 seconds last year in the Tour Series. Here comes Beth McIver and Emily Tillett. Emily Tillett, of course, wearing that red jersey as the Welsh National Criterium champion, wearing that jersey proudly is the National Criterium Champion of Wales. It's great to see as well the various national champs jerseys as well in there, such as the Welsh national champs jersey. Of course, we have national championships in Scotland as well. Get those we get those jerseys in the bunch as well. Joe Tindley leads through that group. Just those back markers, they're just lapping riders here. So 4 riders, and the gap, it did come back to 10 seconds. We'll see if any of them managing to organise that chase behind. So our breakaway group, this is that fairly sizable chasing group that we're just sitting about a minute off. They're about to come up and lap this group. So if you weren't with us early on, we did have an early crash right at the front of the peloton, which I haven't had any updates. But, we've got fairly big size groups out there, but it did happen right at the front, just behind these 4 riders. They're going to come around this time. We are looking towards our second sprint of the night as well. So they've gone past that lapped group. So that's the group on the road. The next group that will appear around the corner are your chasing bunch. And the gap does seem to have gone out. It did come back to that 10 seconds. And it looked like if they were going to get it back, they needed to get it back quickly. But it has gone out. And here comes the chasing group, and you can see the riders on the front. So Amira Mella leading through, but the teammates of Joe Tindley are doing a big job on the front. So is Beth Harley-Jepson of Team Jaden Vive La Velo. Hannah Bays up towards the front of that chasing group again. It seems as well you need to get any teams in that group that have still got strength in numbers. So the Spectra Wiggle team, they've got Bex Darrell in there. They've got Amira Mella still in there as well. Mary Wilkinson and Team Boom Pods in that chasing group as well, but it's trying to get that chase organised. You've got Frankie Hall in there as well for the Loughborough Lightning team, but the Pro Noctis team are doing a great job on the front, as I mentioned, the Jaden Vive La Velo team in terms of just defending that lead at the front, in terms of letting this gap just go out. Can it be the night for Joe Tindley to take that win? Emma Jeffers at 17. I need to check who our youngest ever rider. I know it's Lucy van der Haar, who's our youngest ever winner. I've got a feeling that Lucy was only 16 when she won. I will check see who our youngest ever winner. I know it was Lucy, but I just need to double check what age that she was when she won it. It was back in the beginning of the tour series when you had Lucy van der Haar, Lucy Garner as she was then, Lucy van der Haar. And you had the likes of Hannah Barnes in there as well in these races, and it was some really ferocious sprints that we had. And I remember Lucy taking that one. So I'm gonna as we go through this race, I will just flick back through my notes and just try and just work out in terms of our youngest ever winner, because at 17, it would still be, don't take, you know, if Emma Jeffers could take this one, it would be phenomenal to take that individual win at 17 years old. There is your one of your chasing groups. They are we will call that our third group on the road. This is your leading group, and then your chasing group, your second group on the road, is the group that also contains the multiple yellow jerseys of the Pro Noctis team. And Rick Lister, the team manager for the team, just sent me a picture of his lap board, which just said "fun, fun, fun" on it. So yes, you gotta love what you do out here racing. And the tour series, the team managers, quite a lot of them have their lap boards and have their instructions, and it is useful to have those lap boards. Just to kind of little board, hold it up, write your instructions on it, I remember using them from time to time as well. After, as I've said before, screaming myself hoarse in the pits in the tour series when trying to give instructions to your riders, where they all come in afterwards and we're like, yeah, couldn't hear a word you were saying out there. Into the sprint lap, the klaxon is sounding. Kate Richardson leads Sammy Stewart, Joe Tindley and Emma Jeffers through the line this time. So out onto that sprint lap. Could it be the dream for the Scottish rider on the front to potentially take a win here? They'll be partying all night in Stranraer if they get a home victory in this one. So Emma Jeffers on the back, 17. Lucy van der Haar was 16 years, 8 months and 25 days when she won the grand final in Woking in 2011. So not far off. So that's the youngest ever winner, and in these ones. Beth Morrow leading through again. Look at those Pro Noctis jerseys on the front. They only started last year, the Pro Noctis team, and watch the way they rode through the Tour series. They worked, especially in round 3. We only had 3 rounds last year, and we had the break, of course, in 2020. Due to the pandemic. But when we came back last year, it was one of the impressive things from Pro Noctis was how they ride as a unit and how they ride as a team. And they have and this is what we saw them do it as well in the National Criterium Championships when Joe Tindley jumped clear, won that one on her own. So they are really gelling as a team. And Sammy Stewart comes through this time. She's going to lead through the line, so she takes maximum sprint points this time. So Sammy Stewart, that's 5 points for Stewart. So the order through your line there was Stewart, Tindley, Jeffers, and Richardson. That was your order across the line there from your breakaway group. So this is Group 3, and then Group 2, we're looking to come around the corner and for the next points. And it looks like we've got Lucy Elmore, is it jumping clear? Just as they go through the line. It is Lucy Elmore, she takes 1 point. So has Lucy Elmore decided that she's going to try and put 2 Pro Noctis riders in that front group? We saw her close the gap in Gisborough, and in this situation as well, because it's a team competition as well, if you jump clear and you don't, and again in that team role, if you don't take anyone with you, fair play. If you can get yourself across the gap, why not? But it's 42 seconds. If she's going to cross it, it's going to be some time trial. 42 seconds is the gap now between our first 4 riders and Lucy Elmore in 5th. Beth Morrow led the group through, and I'll just run you through who is still in that chasing group so you can pick out your favourites as our leaders just come back through. So in that chasing group, so Lucy Elmore front, Beth Morrow, Isabel Darville, Amira Mella, Lucy Harris, Beth Harley-Jepson, Hannah Bays, Maddie Gammons is also in that chasing group. Frankie Hall, Mary Wilkinson are inside, Sophie Enevet, and going through Megan Anderson and Bex Darrell, Amy Gornall, Sophie Holmes, Sam Ford are also in that group as well. My timing just updated a couple of our lap riders as I was just letting you know who was in there. But the Data Links Paranesis team as well, with we're looking for those jerseys of Sophie Holmes. Sophie Holmes and Megan Anderson were in there. Here's a couple of our riders here for Team Boom Pods. And Team Boom Pods going into tonight in second in the general classification. So you've got to keep riding for the team points. You've got to keep riding. That's the because of the way this race, because of the crash early on, only 4 riders it looked like got through, and there are 4 leaders. But everyone else has got to think about the points. They've got to think about where they're going to finish in terms of the team classification. And because it was 29 points for Pronoctus going into tonight, Boompod second with 20, and Spectra Wiggle third with 19. As we go through, at the end of lap 22, it is Joe Tinley leading through with Kate Richardson, Emma Jeffers, and Sammy Stewart. And our fastest laps so far, we've got a 128.016 by Emma Jeffers is one of our fastest laps so far. We do have to keep an eye on our laps, because we do get a little bit further down. Sometimes as well, someone out the back can be charging around the circuit who's in a different group, like a rocket ship, and they get the fastest lap. Lucy Elmore, though, has been picked up by that group, so she will want to try it. She will want to now swing off the front and drop back into the group rather than... so Lucy Harris of Team Boom Pods sitting just behind her. Isabel Darville is there as well for Pro Noctis. Then just coming through, so our 2 Team Boom Pods riders. And again, Data Links Paranesis have got to keep themselves, keep moving, keep riding. Think about those points. We're over halfway now. As we said, an hour of racing we are doing here this evening. Our 4 leaders, so Kate Richardson, for the Alba development team, just swings off the front, has a look back down through the group. Just Kate Richardson, 19 years old, is the rider on the back from Glasgow. So she is the university track champion in the individual pursuit with a new record, new national individual pursuit record, on the elimination champion. Just having a little look around here, a little bit of chat going on amongst this group. So she took a bronze medal, did Kate Richardson, in the senior track championships, the elite track championships recently. Got an individual pursuit bronze in that one. Scottish university time trial champion on the road. She's represented Great Britain recently as well at that Nations Cup in Glasgow. So that gave them a great opportunity. And of course, for the home nations, the Scottish team, they're looking to qualify for the Commonwealth Games, as are the Welsh riders. So this is always an interesting year for riders from different parts of the country in terms of trying to qualify for your nations teams. That as well, the Isle of Man. So that comes in, of course, in Birmingham this summer, the Commonwealth Games. Out of that corner, so Kate Richardson, another rider. We had Sophie Coldwell in in round 2, and Kate Richardson here just on the front there. She's another rider who's another former triathlete. Made the switch back though in 2016, and powerful rider. She won the bronze as well in the British Championships in duathlon back, and she's studying sports science at the moment. Next group's Beth McIver and Emily Tillett. There's your Welsh Champions Criterium jersey. So the red jersey there, that's your Welsh Criterium champion. This is group 3 about to be caught by about to be lapped by group 2. So that's group 2. My apologies, I was confusing Gemma Sargent and Hannah Bays there. My apology. So that's group 2 going through. That's group 3 on the road. So they're quite close together. So they're, hence why I was confusing myself. It's easily done. Anyone who knows me will tell you that. The gap, though, 51 seconds. As we said, we did have a chase that came back to about 10 seconds, and that was about it. But count those jerseys in that chasing group. 1 hour of racing this evening. We have completed, as we go through, just click over the 38 minutes. We're getting close to 40 minutes of racing now. Emma Jeffers on the front, Kate Richardson, Sammy Stewart, and Joe Tindley. Again, you would say out of this group, Sammy Stewart will want to try and get clear. You've got this deceptive little false flat up towards the top. And this is the first clockwise circuit that we've got here this evening. Nicola Soden there of Datalinks Paranesis, just getting picked up Monica Greenwood of Team Boom Pods. So both of these riders just have got to be those point scorers for the team. Each time you go back, get McIver and Tillett on the front. Elmore's trying to go again here from the group. Sophie Holmes and Megan Anderson are the two Datalinks riders. So Elmore tries again to go clear. Beth Harley-Jepson still in there. Bex Durrell. So Hannah Bays right on the back of the group. So Tinley, Elmore, Bays, Darville, Jepson, Gammons, Mellor, Hall are in there as well. Coincide, Sophie Enover, Beth Morrow, Mary Wilkinson, Beth McIver going through with Emily Tillett there. Lap Megan Anderson, Bex Durrell, Sophie Holmes, Megan Barker also in that group as well. Here come our leaders. And a minute and 28 seconds with that gap. Get an update on the gap back to those chasers, but it does look like our individual winner on the night is coming from that group. Don't forget, our lap riders will get pulled out with get to sprints, and then they retire with 3 laps to go. That just means that it gives the front riders that clear run at the track, that clear run to be able to sprint it out. The last lap was a minute 33.849, 40 minutes and 4 seconds of racing, and 128.016 by Emma Jeffers is still the fastest lap that I can see so far. There's your chasers. So Elmore's been picked up again. Frankie Hall and Amira Mellor right through towards the front. Amira Mellor, third wheel there. Beth Harley-Jepson. Amira Mellor had a great cyclocross season again, did Amira Mellor. Was up there quite a bit in the winter in the sort of Etias Cross Series as well. She had some really strong rounds of that. Back to our next group. Suzetta Guarini on the front. So Guarini, if you were with us for round 3, getting into that breakaway group. And what a team. Guarini 54 in that breakaway. Her teammate here, 17 for the Jaden Vive Lavello team. So it was great to see them taking the team win on the night. Little word there to the wise from Sammy Stewart as Emma Jeffers comes through. One more sprint to go intermediate. So we have 3 intermediate sprints throughout the night. The next one will come at about 45 minutes of racing. And then we do have sprint points on the line. So you can see Tinley here just starting to look around as well. And she'll start to get wise to any moves as well. So the gap was 22 points going into tonight. Joe Tinley taking 5 on the first sprint and taking 4 on the second sprint. Sammy Stewart, who's wearing the jersey, she's second in that classification. She scored 3 points on the first sprint and took the second sprint with some long drawn-out power that we know Sammy Stewart possesses. Frankie Hall on the front as Lucy Elmore looks like she's going to try and go again here. So the Pro Noctis team have got those jerseys in there. There's McIver and Tillett going through. They've been lapped. So plenty of racing still to come here this evening in Stranraer. So round 3. That's Group 3 just coming around the corner, and that means that our next, our leaders are not far away. So whoever you follow, this LDN Brother UK team with Sammy Stewart, Kate Richardson, Joe Tindley or Emma Jeffers, klaxon sounds. It's a sprint lap next time. Will they sprint it out? They haven't really. It's been a kind of nonchalant roll through the sprints, which is the situation that you get in this position, but they're fairly safe with their gap now, so we might see a bit more of a battle for that sprint this time. Sometimes in this position, when you've got so many intermediate sprints, the breakaway don't want to kind of break up the fluidity of how well they're working, and they have been working so well together since that crash, and the 4 of them were left off the front, but they built that gap considerably as this race has gone on, and really have not missed a beat in this one so far in terms of working together. Back to Group 2, Frankie Hall still on the front. They're going to get the klaxon this time. Lucy Elmore constantly trying to get clear. You got Amira Mella and Bex Durrell that are now up there. So that chasing group here come our 4 leaders. Not far away off the back of the bunch now, are they? In terms of the 4 leaders, Sophie Thackeray is in that group. The Data Links rider just moving forward. 45 minutes of racing. So Stewart, Jeffers, Tinley and Richardson was the order. I was just trying to pick them out through the bunch as they negotiated that. So Sammy Stewart crossed the line first, then Emma Jeffers, and then Joe Tindley with Kate Richardson in 4th. So 5, 4, 3, 2 points. So Joe Tindley clearly here in the sprints knows that what a commanding lead that she's got in this sprints classification, and knowing Joe, she's just here, just keeping the legs fresh, just trying to. She's thinking about the individual win on the night. She wants to take that individual win, as all 4 riders in that breakaway group do, of course. But we've seen Joe Tindley second on so many occasions in this series that an individual win, we know, is not going to be far away from her. Amy Gornall leads the bunch through. Just ahead of Sam Fawcett for Spectral Wiggle, then Beth Morrow, Beth Harley-Jepson, Frankie Hall, Bex Durrell and Hannah Bays all up towards the front. Here come our leaders out of that corner. Is it the night though for Jeffers, the 17-year-old rider? Sammy Stewart coming through. Joe Tindley jumped clear. 46 minutes of racing so far. So back up to speed at the front. If you are just joining us, welcome aboard. The sportsbreaks.com Tour Series, round 4 from Stranraer, a 1 kilometre circuit, 1 hour of racing. It's a team competition. If you haven't been with us for the Tour Series before, 10 points to the winning team, down to 1 for the 10th place team. The last outing in Sunderland, it was won by the rider who is sat second wheel here, Sammy Stewart. She was in a breakaway group. She went clear with Frankie Hall and Suzetta Guarini. Emma Jeffers, the rider on the back here, won the bunch sprint in 4th, head of Amira Mella, Maddie Gammons, Corinne Side, Isabel Darville, Lucy Lee and Megan Anderson. That was your top 10. The last outing, in terms of the round team, it was Jaden Vivlavello that won the team ahead of Pro Noctis, Spectral Wiggle, Vitus, Datalinks Paranesis 4th, Boom Pods were 5th, LDM Brother UK 6th, Loughborough Lightning, Superior, Alba Development and Brother UK Orientation Marketing, they were 10th. The team classification sits like this. Pro Noctis 9 points advantage over Team Boom Pods going into tonight. Team Boom Pods with 20 points. Spectra Wiggle third with 19. Jaden Viva Lavello and LDM Brother UK with 18. Torelli came in 6th with 14, not on the start line tonight. Cams Basso with 11 in 7th. Loughborough Lightning, Alba Development and Datalinks Paranesis all level with 9 points in 8th, 9th and 10th spots at the moment. This series last year, if you were with us, Camps Basso defending champions, Pro Noctis second at level on points last year. It came right down to the wire. LDM Brother UK third overall last year. So now we switch into not only individual race winning mode, but team race winning mode as well. So 4 teams with 1 rider each apiece in this front group. It's a short straight as well. It's a short finishing straight from that bottom corner. If you weren't with us right at the beginning of the night, Emma Jeffers on the back here is a junior rider at 17. It means that she rides restricted gears. So for her, against the likes of Stewart, Tindley and Richardson, oh, Frankie Hall's got a bit of an issue on the front there. Just pedals that one out. But Emma Jeffers is on restricted gears, but it hasn't dented winning bunch sprints so far. 3rd and 4th as well in bunch sprints as Emma Jeffers. So for the young rider from Jaden Viva Lavello, can she take the individual win here in this one? As I've mentioned, great sprinter, great power that the rider on the back's got. Sammy Stewart, I think, is probably going to want to go for a long one in this one. Kate Richardson and Tindley. We'll see what Kate Richardson's got coming into this, coming into the Tour Series. A track rider as well. Great if you've got that track power as well. Richardson would fancy her chances, you would say, in an out-and-out sprint in this one. Tindley's been quite sensible in the way she's ridden this one in terms of not... She knows the advantage that she's got in that sprints classification, so hasn't wasted any energy at all in sprinting it out for those points. She's just been picking up consistent points. She's in the breakaway with her closest rival, who's 22 points behind her going into tonight, and is picking up consistent points. And that's all you need to do in this one in terms of, you want to win this race, get this individual win on the night. Just do what they're doing. These riders as well, count your jerseys. Here come our leaders. Our chasing group. This is Group 2 going through. So the gap at the moment there is 1 minute and 6 seconds, and it's Lucy Elmore, Frankie Hall on the front. Sophie Holmes, Isabel Darville, Hannah Bays, Lucy Harris, Megan Anderson, Sophie Enover, Beth Harley-Jepson, Bex Durrell, Mary Wilkinson, Maddie Gammons, like Mary Wilkinson going through there as well. Maddie Gammons, Sam Fawcett, Amy Gornall, Megan Barker, Beth Morrow, Amira Mera, Corinne Side in there as well. Here come our leaders around. So the gap, they're roughly about 20 seconds or so, you would say, off the back of that group. And we have completed 51 minutes of racing so far. We're lapping at about, if we give Emma Jeffers, the last lap was 1 minute and 34 seconds. So we would say potentially they're going to get 5 laps to go maybe next time when they come round. But it is lining up for some sprint over the course of the final 5 laps. 3 of these riders hunting for that first Tour Series career win. Sammy Stewart on the back here wearing 23 in that freewheel.co.uk light blue sprinters jersey. She is looking to double up. She is looking to go 2 from the last 2 rounds. So can she do that? That would be a dream finish for her. For this bunch behind, so you can see in there as well. So going through, so our second place team have got 2 riders in there. So as our announcer at the side there, they're going to see 5 laps to go this time. So they're out of that corner, 5 laps. So the lap board is out. 5 laps to go this time. So is it going to be a home win for Scotland? Is it going to be the 19-year-old from Glasgow? Or could it be the 17-year-old on the back here, Emma Jeffers from Jayden, Vive la Velo. She's from Chorley. Jo Tindley, one of the most experienced riders in this race is Jo Tindley. Was a real star as a youngster, took a long break from cycling and was inspired by watching things like the Tour Series to come back and start racing again. And since then, it's really made a name for herself on the criterium circuit like this, and as national criterium champion, which she won in emphatic fashion. So 35 years old now is Jo Tindley. And Sammy Stewart, 31, from Garstang in Preston. Jo Tindley lives in Lincoln, where she won that national championship. She's had a few wins so far this season. Lucy Elmore trying again. Beth Harley-Jepsen, Frankie Hall, Sophie Holmes leading through. So Hannah Bayes is still kind of good couple of representatives in that group from St Piran. So they've got Maddie Gammons, I think it is also in there as well for St Piran. Here come our leading group. Quick scramble for the lap board for the official at the side. 4 laps to go this time. Sammy Stewart just trying to tempt Kate Richardson into the gap there. Sammy Stewart just laying off the wheel of Jo Tindley. Experience of watching Sammy Stewart so far, when she starts to do this, she's about to try something. Because we've seen the way that she rides, and if you're a crit rider, you're just trying to attempt that rider into the gap to give yourself a bit of running room to be able to make a move. Because if you're going to make a move out of the class that you've got within this group, you want to take an absolute flyer from the back, you would say. Maybe use this little rise here. It's just very, it's not a lot, but it's just a very slight rise, and it could be the place to make your move. So if you don't fancy your chances in an out-and-out sprint out of this one, and you can see Jo Tindley is trying to, again, just laying off, trying to tempt Kate Richardson into that gap. So they're doubling up the turns on the front there for Kate Richardson. Here comes our next group through. So 4 laps to go for Group 2. So Group 2 going through. Lucy Harris leading the bunch through for Team Boom Pods. Sam Fawcett of Spectra Wiggle, then Beth Harley-Jepsen, Frankie Hall, Sophie Holmes, Hannah Bayes, and Megan Anderson. So just outside your top 11 through. 3 laps to go. Tindley, Richardson, Jefferson, Stewart. This is setting up. You can hear the tactics wheels just grinding in the brains of these riders as they go through, just thinking, how am I going to win this one? Your brain just shifts from breakaway mode to victory mode in this one. So Richardson, can she bring it home here on home soil for Scotland, for that Alba development team? Can it be Tindley? Can it be Jeffers or Stewart? Stewart on the back here. Is she going to potentially make a move, or does she fancy her chances in a big sprint? Sophie Thackeray just sprinting it out here for her placing. So Sophie Thackeray just crossing the line. That was your sprint for your lapped riders. So they then eliminated, they then drop out. So their placings are recorded. Back to the front, Stewart has, looks like she's tried a move and has opened just a couple of gaps. Richardson is right on her though. So just out of our camera shot there, she made her move that we were expecting. Amy Gornall leading the bunch through this time, just ahead of teammate Lucy Elmore. Bex Durrell getting herself back up there. Great to see Bex Durrell back in the Tour Series and racing, former national criterium champion, multiple round winner of the Tour Series. These are her first races back. 2 laps ago this time. Our leading group, they're all looking around at each other. The bunch, the second group on the road are just ahead of them. So it looks like we're going to have 2 kilometers of cat and mouse here as they try to maneuver each other into the right position and get them where they want them for that sprint. Emma Jeffers on the back, you would say, fancies her chances out of the 4 sprints here. She's had a 3rd and a 4th so far in bunch sprints. In this one, Richardson, Tinley, Stewart. Tinley out of the saddle there in that yellow jersey for Pro Noctis. It is a 1 kilometer circuit here in Stranraer. Jeffers just sat on the back. Team Jaden, Vive La Velo have had 2 great rounds. Suzetta Guarini getting herself into that breakaway in the previous round, taking a 3rd spot on the podium. Jaden Vive La Velo won the last round as a team. And if you've been, as we say, if you've been with us over the years, kind of one of the longest surviving teams now, you would say, in Jaden Vive La Velo. Cam's Basso, of course, came in as team on form, and then over the years grew. They've got that UCI team now as well. Team Boom Pods have been around for many years, so have Data Links Paranesis. So Megan Anderson and Sophie Holmes, 2 laps ago this time for the Data Links Paranesis teams. Megan Anderson's had a fastest lap in this series so far. And Sammy Stewart, her fastest lap on the night, 1:28.050. They're going to get the welcome sound of the bell when they come around this time. Choose your rider out of that front group of 4. Who is going to take the individual win on the night? We always celebrate the team classification, but that is the glory of that individual win. So many riders have won rounds of the Tour Series over the years. 1 lap to go this time. Richardson on the front for the Alba Development team. Sammy Stewart, Emma Jeffers and Joe Tindley. You can see the Team LDN Brother UK riders on the back. Will Tindley maybe make a move, or will she be confident in the sprint against the rest of the group here? Looks like she's lining up for one, does Joe Tindley. Just rolling that gear out on the back. Richardson on the front. Tindley's, you would say, in the position that she wants to be on the back of the group. Richardson, Stewart out of that corner. Sammy Stewart, though, winds up the sprint on the front. Emma Jeffers right in on the wheels. You said Sammy Stewart would probably want to go for a long one in this one. The bunch behind are going to get 1 lap to go. This time, Mary Wilkinson, it looks like, on the front here for Team Boom Pods in the green and white colours. Boom Pods sitting 2nd in the general classification. So we're looking for that sprint. It's 100 meters, you can see, from that bottom corner up towards the line. Our leaders will not be far away now from taking that final turn. Has anyone managed to get clear round the back of that circuit? It's going to be a quick one. Tindley's on the front, lining up for that bottom corner. Joe Tindley leads out of the bottom corner. Tindley, Jeffers, Richardson. Here comes Emma Jeffers. Jeffers is going to come through and take it for Jaden Vive La Velo. The 17-year-old takes it. Tindley burst out of that bottom corner, has to settle for 2nd again. Emma Jeffers, we've been just watching the progress of that young rider throughout these races so far, and manages to take that one. 4th, 3rd, now 1st. So Jaden Vive La Velo, what a series that team is having. Tindley has to settle for 2nd again. Remember that name. This young rider is definitely a rising star. Look at that one, getting herself into that group, sprinting it out. And it looks like Bex Durrell out of that bottom corner is going to lead in here. It takes 5th, so Bex Durrell crosses in 5th. Megan Barker, Frankie Hall, Beth Morrow, Maddie Gammons, Sophie Holmes, Isabel Darville. Then Lucy Elmore, Beth Harley-Jepson, Megan Anderson, Hannah Bays, Mary Wilkinson just next across the line. Amira Mellor, Sam Fawcett, Corinne's side, and Amy Gornall. Look at that sprint. Tindley leads out of the bottom corner. Jeffers, we've seen what she can do in these sprints so far in these races, and takes it. So Jaden Vive Lavello's third with Suzetta Guarini in Sunderland, first in the team classification in the last round, now get an individual win. And it's great to see this rider back as well. Bex Durrell back into racing the Tour Series after the birth of her son Jasper, and she comes in there and takes a 5th spot. And you can see the progress that Bex is making through the Tour Series. Great to see her back in there and racing. So those Pro Noctis jerseys down the back of the group there. But there is your winner on the night. And as I mentioned the riders, Lucy van der Haar, the youngest ever rider to win a Tour Series round. And over the years, you've seen the likes of Hannah Barnes win races, Joe Rouse or Dame Sarah Story. We've seen some real champions come through the Tour Series, and great to see Emma Jeffers, another one. And on restricted gears as well. We mentioned that early on for Emma Jeffers, that she's riding as a 17-year-old. They have to ride in their restricted gears, as they keep them doing here in these races. Some countries, you go up to Sweden and countries such as that, and they let the junior riders, when they ride up like this, they do let them ride bigger gears, and because you do see the difference in how Emma Jeffers is kind of revving as they go around. Doesn't blunt a sprint though, does it? Not at all. Absolutely phenomenal. So our breakaway group going through. So our elite men's race, it comes at 6 o'clock. So not too long to wait for that one. Joe Tindley into the pits there. And great to see Kate Richardson for the Alba development team getting into that group. Sammy Stewart from LDN Brother UK. Frankie Hall there as well. There's a replay of your sprint. Joe Tindley just must be wondering, what do I have to do to get the individual win on the night? Jeffers knows she's got it, takes that opportunity to celebrate. So the silver medalist in last year's National Junior Road Championships. Took a bronze in the Kieran as well, as was world number 2 in BMX, double national champion in BMX. She's an apprentice chef as well. I did get the riders to kind of give me a little bit more background on them so that we can get to know them. So she's an apprentice chef, and Emma says that as well. Her older brothers did BMX, and she always went to watch them, so got involved. Then 4 years ago, moved to the road to follow in the footsteps of her brother Cameron. And I said to them, "Tell us something interesting about yourself." And Emma said she always wears 2 pairs of socks when she's racing. So we're looking at the fastest laps as well tonight. Just looking at the fastest laps. 126 we've had as well. Couple of 126, 243. 125, 829 by Megan Barker was one of our fast laps on the night. There's Megan Barker. There's Bex Durrell for Spectra Wiggle. So stay with us for a podium here in the Tour Series. It's this moment while we're waiting for the podium here on our live stream that I'd like to give you a little bit more background on where we are, just in case you're curious. So Stranraer is the gateway to the Rins of Galloway, and for more than a century was a busy ferry port for its services between southwest Scotland and Northern Ireland. In 2022, the town is known for its wide selection of shops and a number of good restaurants. Known locally as the Toon, its main attraction is the Castle of St. John, a ruined four-storey tower house built around 1500s, which sits on a green in the main street. There are several eye-catching artworks in the area surrounding the castle. So located in the old town hall, the Stranraer Museum is the place to go for anybody wishing to discover Wigtonshire's past. The museum features one of Scotland's oldest ploughs. Well, you can also look at the Victorian Wigtonshire in 3D photos and follow in the footsteps of Stranraer's own polar explorers. There are displays of archaeology, local history, farming and dairying. An exciting temporary exhibition programme also runs throughout the year. 3 miles east of Stranraer are Castle Kennedy Gardens, with the castle, 2 lochs, a giant lily pond and an avenue of monkey puzzle trees. The Logan Botanic Gardens sits 13 miles south of the town and is home to exotic ferns and palms and boasts a beautiful walled garden. And just a little bit of miscellaneous cycling information if you'd like it. Stranraer is in Dumfries and Galloway, which has previously hosted the Tour Series at Castle Douglas last year, and finishes of the Tour of Britain in Castle Douglas in 2005, 6, 16, Dumfries in 2011, 2012, and Kirkcudbright in 2019. So that is a little bit about Stranraer. I always like to update you as we wait for our podium to give you a little bit more information on where we are. Loch Ryan is what you're looking for on your map, so Stranraer as well. If you find that on the map, you'll find that. If you enjoy our show here on the live stream, if you want to check out our highlights, we are on ITV4 tomorrow as our highlight show, 7 p.m. That will be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. and that is then available for 30 days on demand on the ITV Hub. So if you haven't seen our highlights program, check that out with Hannah and myself. And Hannah and the team put some great features around. You get to see all around Stranraer. You get loads of interviews with all the teams and the riders as well. So it's a great highlights show. So make sure you check that out on ITV4, and then it's there on the ITV Hub, so you can watch it again and again and again if you want to. And as I said, the men's race will start at 6 p.m. and it will be an hour. I haven't had any updates to say whether we're going to an hour plus 5 laps, but the update was that the men's race would also run at just an hour. So we saw the lap board there just over the kind of 50 minutes or so mark. So to just up to about 53 minutes. So we'll see how that one goes as well. So I can hear our announcer, my good friend Carl Lawrenson, just announcing that we're about to start the podium. And make sure you do come back for the men's race. We've got some riders being swapped in to the mix. And if you didn't see Sunderland, Trinity Racing had a great night, but with Sungod have strengthened the team again tonight as well. So make sure you come back, get settled, get your tea ready, come back, get settled down in front of the live stream for the elite men's race. It's usually a good sign when you hear epic music that the podium is about to begin, and that's what I can hear as well. What a night. Jaden, vive le velo. Emma Jeffers, your individual winner on the night. What a great result for Emma and the team. to take that individual win on the night. Adds her name to a very famous list of riders that have won rounds of the Tour Series in the past. Looking out for the likes of Danny Rowe as well. Won the first ever one. Sammy Stewart is the sprints winner on the night, so we celebrate that. So Sammy Stewart taking third in the first sprint, second in the second sprint, won the second sprint and the third sprint, and picked up fourth place points across the line. As we said, we all award 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points in the sprint classification across the line, and it was Jeffers, Tindley, Richardson, Stewart and then Durrell crossing the line. Pro Noctis, Rota, Red Chili Bikes, Heidi Kjelsen are your team winners on the night. Joe Tindley in the centre there, back in her national champions jersey. So Amy Gornall, Corinne Side, Isabel Darville, Lucy Elmore and Joe Tindley, your Pro Noctis team winners on the night. Let me move to our series leaders. So the fastest lap on the night. Bex Durrell is the fastest lap on the night. Great to see Bex back on the podium. 1:25.489 for Bex. And that was her final lap of the race. So 1:25.489, fastest lap. So our first visit here to Stranraer. Going into this evening, Joe Tindley was leading Sammy Stewart by 22 points. That is just literally coming down to a battle between those two riders. Joe Tindley back on the podium in that blue freewheel.co.uk leader's jersey for the intermediate sprint classification. And we'll see her again. So our leading team overall. But we still have many rounds to go here in the Tour Series. Still 3 rounds to go after this one. Back on the podium in their yellow jerseys. Pro Noctis, Rota, Red Chili Bikes, Heidi Kjelsen. They say it themselves, they got the longest team name in cycling. I do like to, at this point, try and mention the sponsors as much as you can. But Amy Gornall, Corinne Side, Isabel Darville, Joe Tindley and Lucy Elmore, still your leading team overall. So make sure you rejoin us for the Elite Men's Race to come at 6 p.m. It's a great first win in the Tour Series for Emma Jeffers, Pro Noctis, team winners on the night, and the team leaders overall. I'll see you in a little while. From me, Martin McDonald. Bye for now. Hello, welcome to round 4 of the sportsbreaks.com tour series. We are in Stranraer in Scotland this evening. 1 kilometre circuit, 1 hour of racing for the riders. Thanks for your company. Martin McDonald with you to take you through this race. And what a round we had in Sunderland if you weren't with us for that. Trinity Racing bringing in their top team with Blake Quick sprinting out ahead of Luke Lamperti and Finn Crockett. The Wales Racing Academy, though, they are sitting well in the general classification. They are sitting third overall. Trinity Racing are now up to fifth. Ribble Weltite second. With Sungod, though, leading overall. And what a team they have brought in this evening. Ben Perry coming in to the Tour Series this year. So from the past with the World Tour, with teams such as Astana Premier Tech, Ben Perry making his first appearance in the Tour Series. Ribble Weltite, what a strong team that they have got. And Luke Lamperti, US champion in this discipline in his Stars and Stripes, a national champions jersey, led out for his teammate Blake Quick in the last round. Our circuit here in Stranraer, 1 kilometre circuit, sits along the shore of Loch Ryan. It's our first clockwise course of this year's Tour Series. It's got a varied selection of long straight circuit, offers plenty of variations. 2 roundabouts before entering that sweeping back straight. It's here in Stranraer. That might take its toll. The final sharp right-hand turn will then funnel the riders back towards a short sprint to the finish. And it's about 100 meters, you can see, from that bottom corner up towards the line. The weather did look like it was going to come in earlier, so the organisers made a decision to shorten both races to an hour. We normally have 1 hour plus 5 laps. I haven't heard anything to the contrary since I got that nod earlier on. But it means they'll show the lap board with 5 laps to go inside that hour. We'll see what the lap times are looking like this evening. Let's run you through your riders who you're watching out for. So Ribble Weltite, they have brought in Will Brown. We've got Finn Crockett, Matt King, Charlie and Harry Tanfield for With Sun God tonight. So they've got Ben Perry, as we mentioned, Matt Gibson, Matt Bostock, Reese Wood and Toby Barnes. Update on Thomas Mean. Cuts and bruises after that crash. Bit of a strained shoulder as well for Thomas Mean. That's the update from Tim Elverson, the team manager. Joe Holt, Joe Beckinsale, Owain Roberts, Will Truelove and Will Roberts are the Wales Racing Academy team. Ben Chilton, Chris McGlinchey, Dan Barnes, Freddie Sheshka and Isaac Mundy are your Team Spectra, Wiggle and Vitus riders in those grey, gold and black colours. For Techers, the man on the front, this evening you've got Alec Briggs, Ben Tushner and Neil Phillips is the team from Techers. For St Piran, Tom and Lil Mazzoni, Stephen Bradbury, Bradley Simmons and Teo Obholzer. For Trinity Racing, so this evening, Sam Culverwell, Ollie Reese, Max Walker, Luke Lamperti and Blake Quick. We'll see how they're going to race this one. The PB performers, James Bentley, Jacques Coates, Kieran Riley, Max Sillard and Chris Walkinshaw. For Global 6, Miguel Fernandez had the fastest lap in the last round. Connor Skunk, we've got Alex Williams, Keno Young. For No Pins, Matt Wills, Cameron McLaren, Lucas Beam and Max Fleming. Matthew Ellis, Scott Redding and Luke Norris from SRT Muckoff. And then the 0503 team is Joe Schillerbeer, Harry Jukes, Jordan Retalak, Sam Shepherd and Matty Dobbins. 54 riders we have been told are taking the start here in Stranraer. And we will have our sighting lap to get things underway. They will do a lap behind the motorbike. 10 seconds is the countdown. And away we go for the sighting lap. It's a team competition. If you're tuning into the Tour Series for the first time, if you happened across our live stream, which is quite unusual in the world of cycling, a team competition, which is why you're seeing the yellow jerseys on multiple shoulders. So going into tonight with Sun God, with 28 points, 4 points ahead of Ribble Weldtite. So they had a better round. They started in Guisborough. At the end of Guisborough, they were in 6th place, Ribble Weldtite. So they are moving up. Wales Racing Academy, 3rd with 23. St Piran are 4th with 19. Trinity Racing now up to 5th with 16 points after that last round. But they didn't really race for the team classification in that one. They really just went for that individual win, although they did manage to place 2 riders in the top 2 on that one. So we'll see if they change it up this round. Techers are in 6th, but just 3 riders on the start. Spectra Wiggle in 7th with 12. No Pins Motip with in 8th with 10 points. Embark Bike Strong 9th with 8, and PB Performance with 6 points. Going into tonight as well, so we have our individual sprints classification as well. 3 sprints throughout the race, giving 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points for the first 5 riders across the line. We also have points on the line as well towards that sprints classification. So that you can watch out for that at the finish. Matt Bostock leading in the sprints classification with 36 points, 10 points ahead of Harry Tanfield, but Tanfield is really gunning for this sprints competition. We saw a real battle emerging in the last round. Thomas Mean 3rd with 23, but he won't score, of course, tonight. Matt Gibson 4th with 14, Jacob Scott with 10, Finn Crockett 6th with 9, Charlie Tanfield, Jim Brown, Ollie Peckover, and Luke Lamperti are your top 10 in the sprints classification. It's about 12 degrees. We are ready to go. The bike pulls away. Let's go racing in the Tour Series, and it's Matt Gibson that leads through, and you can see it's the first circuit which goes clockwise around this circuit, and it is quick. It is a quick circuit, so it's going to lend itself to very fast racing here this evening. The last round result, if you're interested, so the Ribble Weldtite team won the round team classification on the last round. So they were top with 10 points ahead of Trinity Racing and with Sungod 3rd in that. So it's 10 points for the winning team, down to 1 point for that 10th place team. So 4 riders to count. So you've got to get 4 riders across the line as close as you can together in this one. So we got a 1 kilometer circuit here in Stranraer, the first time that we visited Stranraer on the Tour Series. Not the first time that we've been to this part of the world though. So this is a very familiar part of the world if you follow the Tour of Britain and races such as that. Castle Douglas, who have been here as well. Coming around at the end of lap 1, Matt Gibson leading through from Reese Wood, Luke Lamperti, Miguel Fernandez, Chris McGlinchey, Freddie Sheshka, Dan Barnes, Teo Holzer up there, Isaac Munday, Leon Mazzoni, Sam Culverwell, Charlie Tanfield, Cameron McLaren, and Ben Perry are the top 15 across the line. We're just resetting our camera bike just so that you know. We're just making sure that we can get our pictures out on the course. So if you're wondering why, we're just sticking with our fixed camera on the finish here at the moment. And they're just rebooting that one. We're using their 4G technology here in the live streams of the Tour Series. And there you have it. We're out on the course with our bike. So the 3 riders from with Sungod, Sam Culverwell there, the young rider from Guernsey, sitting there in that blue jersey. His teammate Luke Lamperti in that US National Champions jersey. It's great to have that jersey in here in the mix. It's always good to have different nations coming over here to race the Tour Series. And the USA love criterium racing as much as we do. I always say it's the kind of in terms of the focus and the prestige around races such as this. We love them. The Aussies love them. The US love them as well. France, Belgium, the Netherlands are kind of the big money post-race, post-Tour de France criteriums as well. So they're always very interesting to watch as well, the continental criteriums. But with Sungod, looking like they're starting the way they mean to go on in this one here this evening. Lamperti dives in there in second wheel. Harry and Charlie Tanfield up into sort of 4th and 5th positions there for Ribble Weldtite in those light blue jerseys with the orange sleeves, the orange helmets for them. So with Sun God swapping, having the ability as well, teams can swap riders in and out to rest riders for rounds, and if they do have crashes and injuries, it gives riders just an opportunity just to recover and get themselves fit and ready for later rounds. Blake Quick just coming up on the outside there, the Aussie. So the winner of the previous round, and it did look like the full team were leading out Luke Lamperti, but in the end, Lamperti kind of gave way in the sprint to Blake Quick. So the powerhouse Aussie getting in there. So we've had quite a few first appearances on the podium so far in this series. So our full team: Ben Perry, Matt Gibson, Matt Bostock, Reese Wood and Toby Barnes. Toby Barnes a little bit further down the group. The St. Piran riders, though, Theo Obholzer is definitely a rider from St. Piran that started to look a lot more comfortable in these races in the last round. We got Leon and Tom Mazzoni up here in those black jerseys with the Cornish type, with the green and purple helmets. You're watching out for them. We'll see how the racing pans out here. Is this Stranraer circuit tough enough to potentially get a breakaway clear, or will it be raced similar to what we had in Sunderland? Gibson, though, you can see here just pushing this course to its limit here. Matt Gibson on the front. So at the end of the lap, Matt Gibson, Matt Bostock, Reese Wood, then Luke Lamperti, Charlie Tanfield, then Ben Perry and Harry Tanfield. Blake Quick, Leon Mazzoni and Ollie Reese are your top 10 just going through the line that time. So Ollie Reese, another one of our Trinity Racing riders. So the first sprint of the night happens at about 15 minutes of racing into the night. Matt Bostock, they will want to take this sprint's title overall as well as the general classification. But Harry Tanfield, definitely in the last round, was really starting to show that he has designs on that blue leader's jersey, and he's just keeping it warm at the moment. You can see him in the line. It's a similar colour to his Ribble Weldtite jersey, so the Ribble Weldtite team. So Harry Tanfield, you can see, doesn't have the left shoulder of his jersey. I mean, tell him apart is where he's wearing the blue freewheel.co.uk sprint leaders jersey. Being second in that classification, it means the With Sun God team all in their yellow jerseys. And it's still very tight in the terms of the general classification in this, just 4 points separating the top two teams overall. So anything can change. I mean, we've seen it in the past, teams looking super dominant in series, and teams potentially looking completely out of it, and then in one round, so a team can have a disastrous round and a team can just absolutely smash it in a particular round on a course where everything just clicks, and all of a sudden the whole series can just get flipped on its head. So into the back of the circuit. So Trinity Racing looking like they're deciding to ride this one a little bit different here this evening. That might change if we do start to get some attacks off the front and start to get some breakaways. But you can see they're keeping the pace really high here in this one as they go through the line. Reese Wood leading across the line this time. Culverwell just moving up on your right there in the blue. Trinity Racing, the Guernsey man. So the lap time's about 1:16.556, the fastest lap I have seen so far in this one. Just 6 laps of racing completed. Matt Bostock now through to the front. Bostock in that breakaway group with Thomas Mean in Gispera. They really hit it right from the gun in that one. It's going to be a different affair altogether tonight. You can see though the pace and just the effect that it's having a little bit further down the peloton. So if you look down the group, you are starting to see a few cracks just opening because of the pace on this one. But you can see as we swing onto the side of Loch Ryan here, as we are in the start-finish straight, just how much speed they're able to carry through that corner. So Bostock, Gibson, Lamperti, Wood, Perry, Cobble, Mazzoni, Tanfield, Rees and Barnes, your top 10 across the line this time. So 3 riders, unfortunately, here from our 0503 team going through there. The pace at the front. I always say when you're in a long line such as this, like trying to cling on to a roller coaster by your fingernails. You just get absolutely, just like the lasso, you just get flung off the back of the group sometimes through the corners. Oh. So he just get caught by the group, just trying to get himself out of the way. Getting lapped there. With Sun God. They're showing those colours on the front, aren't they? This is a sort of, looking at this is a sort of early show of strength by the team in the yellow jerseys here. And there you have it. There's the gaps that are just starting to open, the cracks. Stephen Bradbury trying to close that one down, but look at the Ribble well-tight jerseys as well. So 4 riders to count. So there's 3 in there at the moment for Ribble well-tight. So I'm sure that those riders that are just off the back of the group, the team manager in the pits will be screaming themselves hoarse to make sure that they try and get themselves back in there. It's 4 riders to count. So with Sun God, you can see just making this race super hard at the front to try and eliminate as many riders as they can. So that last lap, 1:17.096, 1:16.473. The fast lap that we've seen so far. Such similar styles. The style of the Criterium rider in these sort of, if you're new to watching Criterium racing, the close-up that you're getting there of the way Gibson and Bostock are cornering, digging that shoulder in, getting that knee out. And there's another gap just opening in this group. So you can see riders just tucking their head down, burying themselves to try and stay in the mix here at the front. Gibson and Bostock are just swapping off on the front here, keeping that pace super high. And you can see the riders just on this very small rise there. And that gap, the gap is opening. So 3 riders, Ribble well tight, and that's the sometimes when you bring riders in to these races, and sometimes it's unavoidable because of, as we say, illness, injuries, other racing commitments. Other teams have, you know, multiple race programs, but these races, as if you've been with us throughout the Tour Series so far, this series, they are absolutely brutal. And it can sometimes, if you're not used to it, especially as riders, you know, now of 4 races in, it's nuts out there how tough these Tour Series races are. Sprint lap this time, the klaxon is sounding. Harry Tanfield and Charlie Tanfield now come in towards the front here. There's your Ribblewell. There's your next two Ribblewell type riders who are in this group here. And you can see just how much they are suffering in this one. Charlie Tanfield on the front. So we've still got Tanfield, Charlie Tanfield and Finn Crockett in the group here for Ribblewell tight. Will Brown and Matt King are the two riders that have, unfortunately for the defending champions, lost contact with this group. Charlie Tanfield, though, leading out for his brother, who sat third wheel here. And Harry Tanfield has such amazing seated power in these sprints. They've done the right thing potentially here, just slotting Charlie Tanfield into the gap. But Luke Lamperti now comes up towards the wheel. Tanfield pushing the course as close as he can out of that corner. Is Lamperti going to challenge for the sprint? No, he's not. So at the end of that one, so Tanfield from Lamperti, Charlie Tanfield, then you got Reese Wood and Matt Bostock. Look at that. And there was a sketchy moment there for Harry Tanfield. I'd say, oh, it's completely in control there. Totally had it under control. Nothing to worry about at all. You can see that just go through there. That shows what they want to do here. So Bradbury for St. Piran in this group behind. So we'll just look for that group. The gap is opening. They're not getting back into this group. Looking at how tough it is. Sam Culverwell moves up towards the front here for Trinity Racing. Ollie Reese comes through. Are Trinity Racing now going to change the tactic here in this one? This is the kind of way we saw them ride in the previous round. It's a lapped rider that's just getting picked up there. So these riders off the back are getting picked up by the bunch behind, just giving way. Reese, Culverwell, Lamperti there. So you could see just those the severity of that pace on those laps. Just absolutely decimated that group, as everyone was. All it takes is one rider to just leave a meter, then it becomes 2, 5, 10, 20 meters, 30 seconds before you can even blink. There's your chasers. So these, if you're just tuning into the Tour Series for the first time, welcome aboard. And 2 Welsh Racing Academy riders in there as well, importantly. So it's a team classification, team competition, hence why we focus as well a lot, as much on the individual win as where the counting riders towards their team are. So that group behind, there is a little group just behind, and we can just see there are lapped riders. So they've been, some of them are lapped, some of them are trying to get themselves back into the group. We're seeing some Techers jerseys in there. So the 21-year-old Guernsey man on the front. Took a 7th in the Lincoln Grand Prix at the weekend, which was won by the man in the Stars and Stripes jersey. So 1 sprint down, 2 intermediate sprints to go. So we have been racing for just coming up on 17 minutes. The last lap, 121.364, 13 laps completed so far in this one. Here comes our group. So the Ribblewell type riders got to be fight on in this one, but they do have 2 of those Wales Racing Academy riders in there as well. So Will Roberts is in that group for the Wales Racing Academy. William Truelove, I think, is the other Wales Racing Academy rider. 35 seconds they are off the back of the group at the moment. So I'll go from the back of the group. We've got 25 riders now left at the head of the race. Matt Witts It's sitting 25th. Cameron McLaren, Teo Opholzer, Neil Phillips, Max Walker, Alec Briggs still there. Wine Roberts is also there as well, going through to complete that lap. So Ben Perry leading through from Joe Beckinsale, Sam Culverwell, Ollie Reese, Luke Lamperti, Matt Gibson, Harry Tanfield, Blake Quick, Reese Wood, Charlie Tanfield, your first 10 riders across the line, still in there as well. So Liam Mazzoni, Bradley Simons, Owain Roberts, Matt Bostock, Alec Briggs, Max Walker, Finn Crockett, Joe Holt, Dan Bars, Freddie Sheshka, Toby Barnes, Neil Phillips, Teo Opholzer, Cameron McLaren and Matt Witt is your front group. Just shows how quickly this group can get whittled down. Gibson just moving up with Bostock on your left there. Lending itself to really fast racing here tonight is the Stranraer circuit. So rider down there on the corner, unfortunately. It's really impressed me in the last 2 rounds as Sam Culverwell for Trinity Racing. You can hear the support for the riders around the side. Just going to keep this pace super high going. Just going back, throwing back markers. Unfortunately, just sliding out there on the back of the group. So there was some rain forecast. So it's held off. Let's hope it can. Let's hope it holds off for the rest of the evening. He did just make the decision because the weather was coming in that they were just going to do an hour of racing rather than the full hour plus the 5 laps. At the moment, so quick, no one managing to get clear. It's just been a real attritional race so far, with the riders just getting jettisoned off the back of this group. As we said, about 25 riders still left in this front group. Strength in numbers for both with Sungod and Trinity Racing. For the Wales Racing Academy, 3 riders left in the group for them. So 5 riders start per team. So for Trinity Racing, it's in their interest to keep working on this one. And then look at maybe trying to, I'm sure they'll want to lead the sprint out again for Blake Quick or Luke Lamperti if it does just come down to a bunch sprint. But it's trying to keep some more riders up towards the front in terms of trying to take that team classification and see if they can close the gap in that. And this is the role, if you were with us for Sunderland, this is kind of what Sam Culverwell did in that. Just on the front, keeping that tempo really high. If you weren't with us for Sunderland, it was Blake Quick that took it. Just ahead of his teammate Luke Lamperti, just kind of gave way at the line. Finn Crockett, 3rd for Ribble Weldtite. Matt Bostock, 5th. For with Sungod. Harry Tanfield was 6th for Ribble Weldtite. Miguel Fernandez, a global 6, was 7th. He had the fastest lap. Charlie Tanfield 8th, Reese Wood 9th, and Isaac Mundy was 10th. That gave Ribble Weldtite the team win on the night. They're not going to take that this evening. Trinity Racing was 2nd with Sungod down in 3rd. So gave away a couple of points in that one. St Piran 4th with 7 points, and St Piran look like, if you count those green and purple helmets, 3 riders in here for St Piran. I'll double check, look down the back of the group, whether they've got 3 or 4. in there for St Piran. If it does, that gives them, if they've got 4 riders in there, that'll give them a good run at the next place up in terms of the GC, because they're sitting 4th with 19 points at the moment, St Piran. So 3 for St Piran, I'm counted in there. You can pick out those purple and green helmets. So yes, 3 from St Piran still in that group. So that means it's those counting riders behind for them. Alec Briggs still in there for Techers. And so Alec Briggs, he was telling me he's been suffering with a bit of a cold, as Alec Briggs, but good to see the team principal from Techers runs this team. Good to see him still in that group. So hopefully recovering from that cold. They've had a bit of sickness and injury within the team. This is your chasers, so there's your next 2 riders. There's your next counters for Wales Racing Academy, Ribble, Weldtite and St Piran. So Stephen Bradbury just on the back of the group here for St Piran. He's the next counting rider for them. So 18 laps completed, 24 minutes of racing. We're getting close to that. There you have it, 25 minutes of racing. You're just seeing Alec Briggs move up in those multicoloured, the pink shoulder, the pink arm, the red arm. He's just on the outside left of your picture there. Pink sleeve, the red sleeve, the green and blue colours of Techers. Fixed gear criterium rider, Alec Briggs, big name in the world of fixed gear criterium racing. Here's Briggs. Retained his Rad Race Last Man Standing title over in Berlin recently. Around the 150-metre go-kart track on a bike with no brakes. Completely bonkers, that race is. Fixed gear crit racing is brilliant at best, but that's like next level crazy stuff. Is that Rad Race Last Man Standing, and Alec won that recently. So good to see him recovering, as he said, from that bit of illness that he's had. Will he get in here and challenge in the mix? It would be good to see. We have seen him up there in the past, but look at the speed that's just been carried through these corners. Just getting shuffled back in the pack just a touch now, the Techers riders. Neil Phillips is the other Techers rider that's in there. They look very similar as well to Neil Phillips and Alec Briggs. Bostock back to the front. So nothing managing to get clear here at the moment. Max Walker just pedalling through for Trinity Racing. Out of that corner, back on the front. The Whiff Sun God through to the front, leading this one out. Tanfield gets himself up into 4th wheel there. Leading out, trying to lead out for Matt Bostock. First sprint went to Tanfield from Lamperti, Charlie Tanfield. Wood and then Bostock, so they've got to make sure that they get Matt Bostock scoring points in these intermediate sprints for that blue freewheel.co.uk sprints jersey. Harry Tanfield has just locked himself onto the lead out here of the With Sun God team. So unfortunately for the River Weldtite team, their riders are not far away from being lapped here in this one. It's into sprint lap this time. Wood hands over to Gibson. Then Bostock is there. So Reese Wood, Toby Barnes. Looks like Toby Barnes swung off the front there, drops back down the line. Here come Trinity Racing. Charlie Tanfield just coming through up towards the wheel of his brother, but Harry Tanfield wants the wheels of the With Sun God riders. Gibson is going to lead this one out with Matt Bostock right on the wheel. You can see just very, very slight rise that they've got through this section of the circuit. So our lapped riders are about to get company. Keeping across to the right. Here comes Charlie Tanfield through towards the front. They're leading it out. Bostock and Tanfield right on the front here. Matt Bostock, it's 100 metres from that bottom corner. Lamperti digs in. So just another corner to go here. They line this one up. Bostock right there on the front. He wants this sprint's title. Out of that corner, looks back over the shoulder. Harry Tanfield comes through to try and challenge for this one. Ooh, throw to the line there. We'll see. Looks like Bostock managed to take that one. So the order that they make it was Bostock, Harry Tanfield, Luke Lamperti, Charlie Tanfield, and Reese Wood. Let's have a replay of that one. So the sprint for the last shows how much these two want this title. Little throw there. And it was Matt Bostock that takes the 5. Let's see another angle. Tanfield throws a little wheelie there as well. That front wheel lifting as Harry Tanfield throws the bike at the line. Unfortunately, there's a bike change there for Ben Chilton of Spectra Wiggle Vitus. There's no laps out in the Tour Series. In days gone by, we used to have laps out. So if you had a mechanical or a crash, you could take a lap out and join back in. That was taken out after perhaps some flouting of the rules of what could be done in that situation. So they took them out. So if you have a mechanical or a crash, you just have to chase to get back in there. So it has definitely, that over the years as well, really has changed the dynamic and the flow of these races as well. You do see those frantic chases, especially as we get in towards the last rounds. If a team, if it's very close in the team classification. So we've had it in the past. We had it last year as well, and in previous years, in the 13 years of the Tour Series, where it can just come down to the final sprint and trying to get 4 riders in line and get them across the line to take that team classification. So it's make sure you put them in your diary for the rest of the races to come. This is our second one this week as they just start to pick up here. Just get onto the back here of some more lapped riders. Round 5, we go to Clacton next Thursday. Thursday the 19th of May, we go to Clacton. On Saturday the 21st of May, we go to Barking. So do come and join us live if you can. If not, tune in on our live stream or check out our highlights on ITV4 the next day at 7 p.m. And then our grand final is in Manchester on Tuesday the 24th of May. Tourseries.co.uk, of course, is the website if you want to keep track of all things Tour Series and perhaps want to go and watch the races in person. But good rounds to come. We're here in Stranraer in Scotland this evening for round 4. So thanks for your company. If you're just tuning in, welcome. It's fast, and at the moment we haven't had any breakaways, any really breakaway attempts at this one. It has been between With Sun God and Trinity Racing that literally just blew this race to bits behind, and it's just been riders just popping and going off the back, gaps being left, and we now have in the region of 23 riders we now have in this group. Had a mechanical and a little tumble in that group. I'll run you through who is still here so that you know and you can follow your favourite riders. So as we go through the line, we'll count you down through your 25 riders, 23 riders rather, that are still left in this group. Matt Bostock still on the front as they go through there. There's some of our lapped riders behind. So Matt Bostock, Sam Culverwell, Luke Lamperti leading through. So Charlie Tanfield, Ben Perry, Harry Tanfield, Matt Gibson, Reese Wood, Max Walker, Blake Quick, Toby Barnes, Leon Mazzoni, Ollie Reese, Dan Barnes, Bradley Simmons, the Finn Crockett, Joseph Beckinsale, Alec Briggs, Teo Obholzer, Joe Holt, Neil Phillips, and Freddie Sheshka, I think, is just off the back of the group now. In terms of that one, no, he's there. Freddie Sketcher, my apologies, and Owain Roberts. That's the 23 riders left in the group. Starting to see some movement now. Ollie Reese going off the front here for Trinity Racing. Reese Wood trying to join him at the front, but just pulls the group back up, just brings it back together there. You can see they're 150 meters from that point up towards the line. So the 150 meter mark just before the line. So Ollie Reese leads through. 35.5 minutes of racing so far. The chase behind. Remember, it's still all about the points and the teams. These are your lapped groups. Out on the course, Scott Redding just in that third group on the road. So I'm just looking as well. I'm just keeping an eye on some of the lap times. Ben Perry 1:14.919 for Ben Perry for that With Sun God team. So that's his best time so far. See if that improves as the evening goes on here. So 1:15.372, so 1:14.125, 1:14.909 we've had as well. So some fast teams, so some fast times. So Harry Tanfield 1:14.125, Luke Lamperti 1:14.909 around this 1 kilometre circuit here in Stranraer. Trinity Racing, though, have come through to the front already and en masse. So the blue jerseys now through towards the front. Are they going to start their lead out here with 24 minutes of racing still to go? You wouldn't bet against it. Does anyone feel that they've got the power to get clear? You'd say both the Tanfield brothers, Harry and Charlie. I mean, it's even pushing the time trial power of both of those two riders to try and get clear of this when it's being controlled in this manner. And when I spoke to Tim Elverson, the team manager of With Sun God, before the last round, he was really pleased to see Trinity Racing come in to this one and add another strong team into the mix, and they're very well. You can see when they're out on the races on the continent that they do how well drilled and how well organised they are as a unit. So Trinity Racing on the front, leading out on this one with Sun God right in the mix there. Who fancies their chances? Who's brave? Who's bold in this one? Does anyone have the legs to try and get clear? It's easier. It's easier said than done. It's easier said in the commentary box saying, right, who's going to have a dig on this one, especially with 24 minutes of racing still to go in this one. But Trinity Racing potentially, are they going to try and lead this out as they did in Sunderland for the rest of the race? You see Finn Crockett, Harry and Charlie Tanfield moving up as well for River well tight, keeping that pace super high, this group. And you're seeing the two Ribble Well-type riders there. They've just latched on just onto the back of the group. There's no rule against just latching in and getting a bit of a toe on the back. They'll get pulled out with 3 laps to go. They get a warning, they get a klaxon, and then the riders that are on the back of the group here that have been lapped, they then, as long as they're not interfering with the racing here, so if they're just sat on the back of the group, it means that they'll get a klaxon with 3 laps to go, and they'll sprint with 3 laps to go, and then they're pulled out to make sure that there is no interruption for the leading riders. This is one of your next groups going through. Culverwell on the front. Former Island Games Criterium champion, Sam Culverwell. And Ben Perry, fast finishing Canadian, who's in there with Sun God. Coming into that team after racing with Astana Premier Tech last year. It was also with the Israel Cycling Academy team. Startup Nation has had various inceptions over the years. He was with them for a while. He's had stage wins in races such as the Tour of Korea, Tour of South Korea, which has some really fast sprints as well, does the Tour of Korea. With Sun God though, have just dropped back, and then they're allowing, you can see that they're all in formation, but they're just allowing Trinity Racing now to keep this pace high and set this one up. Are they going to see if they're going to try and go for the team win on the night as well, Trinity Racing? Because we saw them do this, and they did that kind of traditional lead out where the riders such as Culverwell here just led out, gave them the big power, and then dropped off the back. If you want the team classification in this one, you need to keep as many riders up towards the front in the sprint. Just means burying yourself just for a bit longer and just holding on to try and get your 3rd and 4th counting riders in there. Will they go for Lamperti today? Blake Quick is the rider that's on the wheel of the Stars and Stripes jersey of the US champion. Joe Holt, a little bit further down the group as well for the Wales Racing Academy. And Owain Roberts, who was also very active there. That you could see the Wales Racing Academy riders in that group. So if you're wondering why the group has swelled in numbers again, so that lapped group has just got onto the back, has just sat on the back of the main group in this one. Lamperti looking back over the shoulder, perhaps thinking, I'm sure this group wasn't as big as that a little minute ago. We're looking towards our next intermediate sprint of the night. We have one more to go, and then we of course have sprint points on the line as well towards that sprint classification. So again, if you're going for that sprints jersey, you also have to make sure that you try and get yourself up, if you can, in the top 5 and take points right on the line. So this first sprint went to Harry Tanfield, ahead of Luke Lamperti, Charlie Tanfield, and Wooden Bostock. Then Bostock is swung back for Bostock on the second sprint with Harry Tanfield taking 2nd. It was the first sprint though was kind of, you would say, advantage Harry Tanfield, because Matt Bostock only taking that 1 point in that sprint. And going into tonight, the deficit was 10 points between Bostock and Tanfield. The Klaxon Sounds sprint lap this time, so we're coming up on 45 minutes of racing, and these two Ribble World type riders are just dropping off the back of the group. Again, they're one lap down, and now you can see moving up, getting up towards the front with Sungod want to lead this one out. Harry Tanfield, right, very vigilant towards the front. So they're looking for Matt Bostock, so they're just going to take the pressure out of the front of the group here. Matt Gibson just gives Wood a little push up towards the front. Sam Culverwell gets back through with Sungod. Want to try and lead this one out for Matt Bostock. Harry Tanfield just wants to put some riders between himself and Bostock, and at the moment he's doing that. Where is Bostock? There he is, a couple of wheels back. So Tanfield leading this one out. 1 kilometre in length is this circuit. So Harry Tanfield on the front just looks back over the shoulder. Can he take another 5 points? Swings wide out of that corner. Wood will want to give way here to Bostock. Harry Tanfield comes through, takes another 5 points in that one. So Harry Tanfield leads across the line. And unfortunately, you would say, for Matt Bostock, Reese Wood was still in the middle of the two of them. I would have just thrown the anchor out on that one if I was Reese Wood, just to make sure, because every single point counts in this competition. We've seen it so many times over the years, a lost point here and a lost point there. Even when you go into a round with a significant advantage, it can just disappear. So 5 points to Harry Tanfield, 4 points to Reese Wood, 3 points to Matt Bostock, 2 to Sam Culverwell, and 1 point to Leon Mazzoni. So as I said, there's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points on the finish line as well. So Harry Tanfield now has picked up 14 points so far this evening. Matt Bostock has picked up another 9. So Harry Tanfield is just gradually just chipping away a little bit at this gap. Bostock, little shake of the head there as we go through after 46 minutes of racing. Matt Gibson just getting a little bit, just wants to be careful that he doesn't get caught up in the traffic of the lap riders there, Matt Gibson, because that group, as we said, is its size because of one of the lapped groups just latching on to the back. And Ribble well tight. Just got to try. Those two riders have just got to try and pick off as many riders in front of them as they can in terms of not ending the, for it not to be an absolute disaster for Ribble well tight after they've battled back from 6th place in the opening round in Guisborough to put themselves as defending champions back in with a bit of a shout in the standings going into tonight's second. 4-point deficit to Whiff Sungod. Wales Racing Academy with 23. So what can they do come the finish of this one? Leading out though, Trinity Racing. Are we going to see Trinity Racing, Whiff Sungod and the 3 Ribble well type riders going head to head in this one? Does anyone else within this group have an answer? Perhaps Leon Mazzoni from St Piran. Can the St Piran rider? He's been sprinting well so far in this series. Teo Opolzer has been making great strides in the previous couple of races for St Piran. 34 laps of racing completed here in this one. It does look like Trinity Racing are just going to lead this one out for the finish. You can almost feel the anguish of the two Ribble well type riders that didn't manage to just stay in that group in Will Brown and Matt King. They're the two that are chasing. Harry and Charlie Tanfield and Finn Crockett are the 3 riders left in there. Finn Crockett as well, fast sprinter is Finn Crockett. He might fancy his chances come the end of this one. In round 3 in Sunderland, if you weren't with us, Blake Quick from Luke Lamperti, Finn Crockett, Leon Mazzoni, Matt Bostock, Harry Tanfield, Miguel Fernandez, Charlie Tanfield, Reese Wood and Isaac Mundy was your top 10 on that individual win on the night. Can Trinity Racing, though, make it 2 from 2? Will it be another one for Blake Quick? Could it be Luke Lamperti tonight? Because Blake Quick at the moment, it's got that kind of minesweeper role right on the wheel of Lamperti, making sure that no one could get in there. But you've got all of your Trinity Racing riders lined out. Then you've got your 3 that are left in there from Ribble Well-Tight. Leon Mazzoni is the St. Piran rider that you can see just in that black jersey with the green and purple helmet. So Mazzoni from the Isle of Man. Again, that team doing things a little bit differently are St. Piran. She's 25 years old now, is Leon Mazzoni from Ramsey on the Isle of Man. He's done a few races internationally with St. Piran this year. Was up there. They raced the Tour de Loire Cher and GP Lillers in France. 3rd in the opening round last year, had a 4th as well. 9th in the Lancaster GP. Also races the mountain bike, races in some cyclocross as well. Does Mazzoni. He's looking to try and qualify for the Commonwealth Games for the Isle of Man. So the other riders that you can see just on the back with the counting riders, they're not going to be far away now from getting 5 laps to go. And you can see Crockett, Charlie and Harry Tanfield just looking around for each other. Alec Briggs just moving up for Tekkers with Neil Phillips. So the 2 Tekkers riders, Phillips and Briggs, moving up as well. And for those Wales Racing Academy riders, they're fast trackies are the Wales Racing Academy riders. Does any of them fancy their chances in the sprint? There's Alec Briggs, you can see, with Neil Phillips. Both got strong beards, Neil Phillips and Alec Briggs. It's quite difficult sometimes to tell them apart from a distance, but it's Alec Briggs on the front. He's the first Tekkers rider that you can see in there. Mazzoni doing the right thing. He's just surfing the lead out here, is the St. Piran rider. Just got to freelance this one off the back of Trinity, Ribble and with Sungod to try and take that sprint. Blake Quick just getting shuffled back off the wheels of his teammates. Fights his way through. Gets up onto the lead outs. You can hear the team managers in the pits. They did this in Sunderland with great effect, did Trinity. Doing it again here in Stranraer. So choose your riders, choose your teams. Who's going to get this one? Trinity are doing a great job in keeping themselves up there in that team standings as well within the group. They just want to make sure once this lead out is done that they just try and keep themselves up as far as close to the front as they can. For Ribble Well-Tight as well, just get those first 3 riders right up there, and Harry, Charlie Tanfield and Finn Crockett, or 3 of them are all good sprinters as well, and they've then just got to hope that their teammates behind will manage to pick off and have managed to pick off riders in front of them in terms of where they finish in the standings and where they count towards that team classification. Oliver Rees on the front though. So 53 minutes of racing so far, so quick that nothing has managed to get clear. No attacks, it's just been lead out after lead out here in Stranraer this evening. 1:14.125 is is Harry Tanfield's fastest lap. 1:40. I think that's that looks like the fastest lap time that we've had so far. So when they hit the line next time, it will be 5 laps to go. And as they said, they just decided to bring it down to just the hour of racing. Max Walker on the front. Took a 5th in the Cycle Classic, did Max Walker. 9th in Lincoln, behind teammate Luke Lamperti. Charlie Tanfield just moving up on the inside, so these groups will have a couple of laps before they get to sprint it out for their placings. With Sungod, though, they need to start moving those yellow jerseys up within the groups, start to organise their lead-out train. 5 laps to go this time. Don't get caught up in the mix of those lapped riders at the back. Don't want any gaps to start opening. So anyone within that group that is lapped will be told to sprint it out and retire. So in this front group, Calverwell on the front, tucking it down. Lamperti and Quick, here they come on the outside, the with Sungod jerseys. Toby Barnes just moving up on the outside. Do any of the teams that have just a couple riders, maybe one rider still left in here, they have a challenge for this one. There is still opportunities in this bunch sprint for the likes of Mazzoni, for Briggs, for Holt perhaps, for the Wales Racing Academy. But the Guernsey man, 4 laps to go this time. Impressive riding on the front yet again from Sam Calverwell. What a lead-out man this young Guernsey rider is. He will hand over to Ollie Rees. Max Walker, are they going to lead out for Blake Quick this evening, or are they going to go for Luke Lamperti? Or do they fancy the US National Criterium champion for the victory here? Blake Quick is on the wheel of Lamperti. Charlie Tanfield moves up. Does anyone have a late attack here? Can they try and spring a surprise? 1 kilometre is this circuit. They will see 3 laps to go when they come round next time. Just 3 kilometres will remain. So with Sungod just trying to get together, you can see there, just moving up. Rees Wood, those black shoes of Rees Wood. Now Ollie Rees, 2nd in the Tour Series in Sunderland last year was Ollie Rees. It's an impressive lead out, isn't it? That's the pace. It's pretty much just been riders just disappearing off the back of the group throughout the night. 3 laps to go this time. So the lap riders will retire from that group. So Harry Tanfield moves up. Will they lead out for Finn Crockett? Finn Crockett is a strong sprinter, is the Scotsman. That would be a popular win here in Stranraer for Finn Crockett. Here's the sprint out for the group behind. So that's your 4th place and 5th counting riders for Ribble Weld Tie. It's been a brutal night for those two, hasn't it? From the chase from the start, you would say, in this one, when this group just started to splinter, and you just can't sit back in the group. You've got to keep yourself right up towards the front. So Briggs and Phillips in there for Tekkers. Mazzoni still holding that position is Mazzoni. These are our lapped riders, but they're just off the front of the group here with 2 laps to go. Here comes Harry Tanfield. Harry Tanfield moves up. Charlie Tanfield and Finn Crockett. Just a dominant position now at the front. He's looking for his teammates behind. 2 kilometers to go. We know what Harry Tanfield can do around these circuits in terms of keeping this pace right super high. You can see using every last millimetre of this course. He lost it, he's just looking for the teammates. There's Finn Crockett, Charlie Tanfield right on the wheel. Walker, Culverwell. Then Lamperti and Quick, where are they? But the Ribblewell type riders have got themselves in the mix. There's Lamperti, Walker and Culverwell, Tanfield just hollering, trying to dominate, keep just bossing the front of this one. Finn Crockett is right on the wheel of Lamperti. Mazzoni is poised and ready. The yellow jerseys of Wim Songod, though, ready to make a charge. As they exit that corner, Walker on the front, they're going to hear the bell this time. 1 kilometre to go. Walker on the front, Culverwell, Tanfield, then Lamperti, Crockett, Mazzoni is there. Blake Quick up towards the front now. They're trying to keep this strong position here as Reese now leads it out for Trinity Racing. Job done by Walker. Tanfield is sat right in on the wheel. Lamperti, though, going to get a great lead out off the wheel here of Harry Tanfield. Reese out of that corner. Watch for those yellow jerseys defending for the general classification. They are all together. They'll try and make a charge now down the back straight. Finn Crockett gets right in on the wheel now of Luke Lamperti. Blake Quick, elbows out. The tough Aussie moves up on the outside. Culverwell is still there. Crockett looking, just moves around onto the wheel of Lamperti in front of Quick. So it's Tanfield from Lamperti. Crockett, Bostock moving up. Mazzoni is right there. Lamperti, though, is he going to go for a long one here? Lamperti, just a couple of corners to go now as they will lead out and line up for the finish. So the Trinity Racing man on the front, it's 100 metres from that bottom corner. Can Lamperti carry that speed out of the bottom corner? Here comes Harry Tanfield. Luke Lamperti is there, he looks back. Lamperti takes it. The US national champion for Trinity Racing. He got to the front, out of that last corner in the lead. It's 2 rounds from the last 2 for Trinity Racing. And Ribblewell tight, they did everything they could there in that one. But again, another dominant show of strength from Trinity Racing. Nothing getting clear there this evening. It was a physical race as well coming in towards the finish, wasn't it? The lead outs, trying to get the lead outs there through that final lap, that final kilometre. So it's Luke Lamperti that leads across the line here ahead of Harry Tanfield. Looked like Bostock. Then Finn Crockett, Leon Mazzoni gets himself up there. So the man who won the Lincoln Grand Prix last weekend, 19 from the USA. Great to have him racing here in this one. Also had a stage of Tour de Loire share in his career as well. He's an impressive rider as well, isn't he, Sam Culverwell? Can just go and go and go. Look at that sprint, 100 meters from that bottom corner. That's the calculation, isn't it? When the finish straight is so short, do you just go from that bottom corner? He just made that move first out of the corner, carry that speed, and that's what he did. And as you hear, the riders just pick apart the race afterwards. So Luke Lamperti, a winner here in Stranraer. Clacton-on-Sea is the next venue. There we go. And then Barking, and then our grand final in Manchester. So 3 rounds to come. I don't think that will have done Trinity Racing any harm as well in the general standings. So Mick Bennett in the pits. I think he just won himself 20 quid, he said. So Ray, stay with the podium if you can. See who has won what on the night. So the tactics on the night from Trinity Racing again, after the teams blew it to bits earlier on. Let's have a look back at what was, you'd say, another eventful night here in the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series. Matt Gibson, though, and Matt Bostock, the pace here from With Sungok, this was what made the difference. You can see just those little cracks just starting to open down the group as riders just got jettisoned off the back. This was one of the stories of the night, though, for Ribble Weldtite. Unfortunately, the 2 riders that came in on the night, Will Brown and Matt King, not able to stay in this front group, or didn't make this front group. Harry Tanfield, Matt Bostock battling it out for the intermediate sprints on the night. And there you have it. There was some of your moments. Rider down on the corner, just sliding out there, unfortunately. Such a shame after making it into that group. Sprint 2, and it was Bostock from Tanfield, with Lamperti up there in 3rd spot on Sprint 2. So Harry Tanfield just little by little whittling away the gap between him. Ben Chilton, unfortunately, for Spectra Wiggle Vitus, had a bit of a chase on his hands to try and get back into the mix. And as the race went on, it really, as well, came down to this story. And Harry Tanfield, who's looking for the teammates, and a real physical battle as well out there on this 1 kilometre circuit. Ribble Weldtite looked like they were trying to lead out for Finn Crockett, who had got himself onto the wheel of Lamperti, but Lamperti going before that bottom corner. Right decision for the American, and he takes that one. And again, it shows the prestige of the Tour Series when you see a rider like that, a national champion from another country, and a team riding in such a fashion to make sure that they take the win. And it is always great to win in your national champion's jersey as well, isn't it? And he's really showing his strength here in this one. Our podium presentation, not far away now. And a great night here in Stranraer. A venue for the Tour Series for the first time. And don't forget, you can tune in if you want to watch our highlights program. That is on ITV4 tomorrow night, Friday, at 7 p.m. And then is available for 30 days on demand via the ITV hub. So make sure you join us for that if you can. So Dumfries and Galloway, where we are in Stranraer, We've been here many times over the years for other in other parts. So Castle Douglas last year in the Tour Series, and then the Tour of Britain in Castle Douglas in 2005, 6 and 16. And then Dumfries in 2011 and 2012, and then Kukubri in 2019. So many great finishes and bike races that we've had here in this part of the world. And there's always a full day of activities going on at the Tour Series. If you ever, if you get an opportunity to go and visit one, go and watch one in person. There's a lot going on throughout the day, as well as the racing. So we'll see how that finish and who has got team wins on the night going into tonight. In terms of the team standings, it was 4 points between with Sungod. They had enough counting riders in that front group. Wales Racing Academy, who were third, Ribble Weltite, who were second, didn't. St Piran had 3. Trinity Racing will have done themselves no harm at all in terms of their standings in this one. So we'll see as we get to the finish. But the sprints classification with our 3 rounds to go really is hotting up as well. So that is going to be interesting. That could potentially, given the number of points, because don't forget, Harry Tanfield also scored points on the line towards the sprints classification, as we have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points on offer as you cross the finish lines. So he's picked up considerable amount of points here this evening. 18 by my tally, and I'm rubbish at maths, so I won't make any predictions in how that's going, but he has definitely done himself some real good in this one. Sounds like we are about to kick our podium off. So the individual win on the night. So for Trinity Racing, the last round in Sunderland, it was Blake Quick with Luke Lamperti second. Tonight here in Stranraer, he goes one better and goes to the top step of the podium. Luke Lamperti, your individual winner here on round 4 of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series in Stranraer. So it'll probably be our sprints winner on the night will be next. Harry Tanfield is your individual sprints winner on the night. And he's wearing that blue jersey, as he said. He was second in that classification going into tonight. The blue freewheel.co.uk sprinters jersey. So looking for our team win on the night next. So they're saying the team win on the night is Ribble Weltite. That doesn't seem right to me. We'll question that one. So we had the Whiff Sungod team had all of their riders in the front group, and Ribble Weltite had 3. We'll see if that calculation is later changed, but they're getting their moment on the podium anyway. So the overall team, So we will do our sprints leader and our team general classification. Fastest lap we're going to do next, my apologies. Matt Bostock is your fastest lap on the night. Always a good award to get, is the fastest lap. So sprints leader for that blue freewheel.co.uk sprints jersey. Matt Bostock still in that. Harry Tanfield sprints winner on the night. It's a great battle, but he will take that jersey forward into round 5. It's what you want within a series such as this, is to have 2 riders really, or multiple riders, fighting out for that classification. So Whiff Sungod are still our leading team. So the team for tonight: Ben Perry, Matthew Gibson, Matt Bostock, Reese Wood and Toby Barnes. Whiff Sungod still in those freewheel.co.uk yellow jerseys as series leaders, looking to retain that title they won in 2018 and 2019 as Canyon Iceberg and Canyon DHB. They lost out last year to Ribble World Tight, looking to get that jersey, that classification back. And there you have it. There is your individual winner on the night, Luke Lamperti, with Sungod still in those yellow jerseys going forward. I hope you enjoyed our coverage. I'll bid you farewell from me, Martin McDonald. See you for round 5 in Clapton.